Bonjour classe! Salut mes amis! Bienvenue dans notre classe pour Français 1. Are you ready for this? Today we're going to start with lesson 13, à la maison. And that can be found in your textbook on pages 196 through 200. So you're going to need la texte, your textbook, une feuille de papier ou un cahier, a piece of paper or a notebook, et un crayon ou un stylo. You're going to need a pencil or a pen so that you can follow along and get the most out of this lesson. So pause the video and go get that. Okay, here we are. La ville et la maison starts on page 196, and there are some questions that you'll be able to answer at the end of this unit. For example, où habites-tu? Where do you live? Quelle est ton adresse? What's your address? Comment est ta ville? What's your city like? Comment est ton quartier? What's your neighborhood like? Et quelle ville voudrais-tu visiter? And what city would you like to visit? In addition to that, we're going to be talking about working your way around town and also some of the different rooms of the house. So there's a lot of vocabulary to learn with this. Let's begin. These don't necessarily go in the same order as they are listed in your textbook, so you can just follow along with this video and then refer to your textbook later to find where these things are, to see the definitions, and fill in your vocabulary sheet that I have posted on Google Classroom. So let's start with la ville. Here are a few places around town. For example, une plage, une maison, un stade, une bibliothèque, un aéroport, un magasin ou une boutique, une poste, une école, une piscine, un hôpital, un musée, un gare, une église, un cinéma, un théâtre, un parc, un café ou un restaurant, et finalement, un centre commercial. Now, the good thing about doing video lessons is you can go back as many times as you want to hear those pronunciations and repeat after me and practice them on your own time. So it's an excellent way to practice as we learn these words. So pay attention to some of the things we talked about, because some of these places you'll notice are masculine, like un cinéma ou un café, and some of them are feminine. Une église, and I have to go back up here to une poste, une piscine. Do you hear the difference between un, which is un musée, un hôpital, and une, which is une for the feminine, une poste, une école. As you learn these words and the rest of our vocabulary for this lesson, always remember that the French nouns are going to have a gender, either masculine or feminine, so pay attention to which one is which. Okay, now tournez la page à la page 199. 199. It's 199. Ooh, we're getting pretty far in the book. If you look on this page, you'll see some more vocabulary that helps you with giving directions or asking directions. This was something that came up on the survey. A few people thought that might be an interesting thing to learn. If you're traveling and you're lost, or you just want to find, a place in this French-speaking country, you might say, où est le cinéma? Where's the movie theater? Or où est un bon café? Where can I find a good cafe? And to get those directions, here are some of the words that people will use and that you can use as well. So this one that's going to the left is à gauche, à gauche. This one going to the right, à droite, à droite. If you need to tell someone to turn, use the word tourner. It's just like the English word. Tourner à gauche, tourner à droite, ou continuer tout droit. Tout droit means straight ahead. Continuer tout droit. So those are some ways to get some directions. And of course, as we've learned in class, culturally speaking, the French are a lot more formal when it comes to asking strangers questions. They don't just go up to someone and say, hey, bonjour. They use their good manners. So also in your textbook, you'll find a few ways to ask someone politely how to get where you're going. Excusez-moi, monsieur. Excusez-moi, madame. Pardon, madame. Pardon, monsieur. Comment est-ce que je vais? Ou où se trouve? Ou où est le café? À gauche, à droite, tout droit? You get the idea. Great. Now we're going to move on to this map, which you can use to practice on your own. I've posted this entire presentation on Google Docs, so you don't have to watch it through the video. You can print it off, or you can just look at it on your screen in your own time. And look at some of the places that we've already learned. One thing you can do is label this if you decide to print it off. Un centre commercial, un stade, une poste. I don't know what this is supposed to be. Is it a school? Is it a museum? Is that handprint artwork? I don't know. Un cinéma. You can even draw your own on here and make a few more buildings, and then give yourself directions. Je suis au cinéma. I'm at the movies. Où est le centre commercial? Tournez à droite à rue South Rohan, tournez à droite à Market Street, et le voilà, le centre commercial. So you can practice giving yourself directions. The last bit of vocabulary we have for this lesson is la maison. La maison. And la maison can be found à la page 200. Tournez à la page 200. 200. Here we go. First of all, some of the different rooms in the house. We start right here with le salon. Le salon. La salle à manger. La salle à manger. La cuisine. La cuisine. La chambre. La chambre. We already know that one. La salle de bain. La salle de bain. Les toilettes. Les toilettes. Et voici la chambre, une autre chambre. Il y a beaucoup de chambres dans cette maison, n'est-ce pas? So these are the rooms inside of the house, a pretty basic map. You might have noticed that les toilettes is actually a separate room from la salle de bain. And that's very common, especially in traditional French homes. For whatever reason, historical reasons, I mean, les toilettes used to be outdoors, and when they brought all that indoors, the French decided to keep it separate. So in most traditional French homes, you will find that les toilettes is almost like in a little closet off to the side, and then la salle de bain, the regular bathroom that has the shower and the sinks and everything else, is in a different room. It's probably for good reason, don't you think? Both of the homes that I lived in when I lived in France had this setup, and it worked out pretty well. So just an interesting thing that's a little bit different from the way our homes are traditionally set up. Now we go outside the house, and you'll notice a few other things. We have le garage, and le jardin, le jardin. It's like the word garden, but they just use the word le jardin to mean any kind of yard. Front yard, backyard is all le jardin. So there you have the rooms in the house and the outdoors of the house. And one thing you can do to practice is if you have Post-it notes or just little scraps of paper and some markers, label the rooms of your house. So stick it on the wall everywhere you go while you're walking around the house. You'll remember, oh, je suis dans le salon. Et maintenant, je suis dans la chambre. And we learned a few other things too in a previous chapter. La porte, la fenêtre, le lit, une chaise. You can label a bunch of things in your house. And then, here we go, you can give yourselves directions around the house, or you can teach your pets or your siblings how to speak a little bit of French and order them around the house. Tell them to tourner à droite, tourner à gauche, entrez dans la salle à manger, entrez dans la cuisine. Lots of different things you can do just to practice this in a more fun, hands-on way. But of course, I've also provided you with a vocabulary sheet that you should use to work on the spelling. Look for accents, look for other things in the spelling of the words, especially pay attention to masculine and feminine, like always. And then I also have attached the workbook page for you guys in the Google Classroom. If you have your workbook at home, you can just use that. Anything that you complete for which you'd like feedback from me, just want to show me what you're doing, ask me any questions, submit those to Google Classroom. You can take a picture when you go to submit with your phone, and it'll allow you to submit that picture. If you have any technical difficulties with that, just send me an email or just send me your work through email. That should work just as well. So whatever works so that you can get some feedback from me. Just a reminder, my office hours are technically 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. every day. That's when I'm going to be at my computer, available to email back and forth with you. But of course you can send me a question at any time. Sometimes I'll answer, sometimes I won't be able to, but I'll definitely be able to answer emails from that 10 to 12 p.m. time slot, and I'll get to you as soon as I can. Last thing, I have a couple of shout outs. So shout out to Natalie, shout out to Gabby, because both of them helped me with some technical difficulties last week with the survey. And shout out to all of you for completing that survey. That is going to help me to make some plans to see what you want to do moving forward for the rest of the year. So, merci beaucoup. Class, that's it for our lesson today. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Keep working on your French. Keep practicing those pronunciations. Watch this video as many times as you want. And hopefully you'll learn something fun today. À bientôt! Au revoir!